What's up, everybody, and thank you for listening to Mastering the Mindset. My name is Dariusdotch, and I'm an actor, hip-hop artist, and fitness and life coach. And I'm here to personally help you train and improve your mindset so that you can, 1, become the best version of yourself mentally, and 2, gain focus and motivation to be able to take action and achieve the success in life that you want and deserve. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to my channel, and at the end of this episode, if you liked it, please share it with a friend or a loved one or someone who would benefit from hearing this message. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm ready to go on this journey with you, and that journey begins now. All right, y'all, and welcome back to another episode. So today, let's talk about how to fall in love with the process of what it is you need to do to take the action you need to take in order to create the life you want. You want to accomplish your goal, right? Whatever it may be. A money goal, a career goal, a relationship goal, a weight loss goal, a project, an achievement. And I know you have goals because you're the kind of person listening to this podcast right now. And there's 2 ways you can accomplish your goal. The first way, which is how a lot of people accomplish goals, and I definitely have been guilty of this, is they struggle their way to success. They feel like they have to constantly be on the grind and the hustle and running themselves into the ground for years, and that it has to suck. It has to be hard. You have to basically go through this process begrudgingly because it's going to be hard on you. And that's easy to do, right? To think that way. As much as we hear people talk about how they had to work and grind so hard and how much they spent so much time being miserable while they was grinding to get to where they got, it can be easy to look at approaching your goals this way. Or what you could do is to actually love the process and to love who you're becoming in that process and what you need to do in order to achieve that goal. You can love the process, the challenges, everything that comes up that's going to challenge you to make you better in the long run. And when I was preparing to write this episode, I found this quote that goes really well with this episode. And it says, "The man who loves walking will go further than the man who just runs for the goal." The man who loves walking will go further than the man who just runs for the goal. And think about that in everyday life. Have you ever ran a marathon? Or think about the typical person you know who has ran a marathon. They train specifically for that marathon, and then they run it. And more than likely, they never do another one. And if they do another one, it's not all the time, right? They run it to say they ran a marathon. Now, that's better than me. I will never run a marathon. I think my form must be off, or I need better arch support because my lower back gets tight every time I run for any kind of distance, every single time. And so if you think about that person who wants to run in the next marathon to say they did it, and you think about that person who truly loves to walk, that person who loves to walk over the span of their life is going to travel way further than that person who ran that marathon. And so when you think about the process of achieving that goal, you have to love it. The person you're becoming, the challenge of it all, the growth you experience, all the ways you get better, the knowledge and wisdom you gain. That has to keep you going. That's why a lot of the most successful people, the reason they're extremely successful in what they do is because they love building that business and everything that comes along with it. It's not just about making the money, it's the process. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how you can fall in love with the process of building the life you want. We're going to talk about what's called the dopamine reward system. So let's dive in. So what is dopamine? Most of you know what dopamine is, right? And most of you think that is just a feel-good chemical in your brain. And if you think that, then you would actually be wrong. It's not just a feel-good chemical in your brain. That's more of serotonin. That feeling of everything is great. I feel amazing. This is wonderful. All that. And dopamine is an outward-facing chemical. It's a chemical of motivation, of wanting more. It's very externally focused. Serotonin is here and now, and everything is beautiful, gratitude and gratefulness. And both of these are good, but dopamine is the chemical of more, of wanting more, of motivation. When you're really motivated, you're in a high dopamine state. When you have no motivation, you have a lack of dopamine and you're in a low dopamine state. It gets released when you get excited about something, when you're celebrating something. And the beautiful part about dopamine is it's a subjective chemical. You can tell your brain when you want it to be released, when you want it to be released. That's the amazing part about it. Now, in this episode, we're going to talk about how to use that chemical to be able to take the action you need to take to create the life you want, to achieve the things you want to achieve. We're going to talk about how to make it easier to take that action, because when you take that action you need to take, then you get closer to what you're striving for. So let's talk about it. So when you look at some of the most successful people, and let's look at people like LeBron James or Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, the greatest achievers, some of the greatest CEOs. What do you think is some of the most common things in all these people? You might say hard work. That's true. Dedication. That will be true. You might say obsession. Yeah, that probably is true. All of that will be true. But what all of them did, whether they knew it or not, all of them fell in love with the process. Not the end goal, the process. And I guarantee in their minds, the way they were wired, they had a process that produces dopamine for them when they put in the work and were going through the process. A dopamine reward system, a very specific dopamine reward system. And what that is a way for your brain to release dopamine after you accomplish something, a task that's part of your process. Not just the goal, but something that will help you get to your goal. And let me give you a quick example. So me and my group of friends, we play what's called whirly ball. And if you've never heard of whirly ball, let me tell you, it's some of the most funnest shit I've ever done. It's teams of 5 people, and it's a combination of lacrosse, hockey, and basketball. And you play in bumper cars. Bumper cars. And in one hand, you have this racket and you pass around a wiffle ball to your teammates. And the other hand is to drive the bumper car while the other team is trying to stop you from getting to the other end of the floor where your goal is. It's fun. Some of the most fun I've had in years. And it's so fun that we joined the league. So on Mondays, teams come up there and we all play 3 games. And there's a tournament at the end of the season to see who the champion is. And when we first started, we was trash. Straight garbage. I'm talking hot garbage. Hot summertime in the middle of August garbage. But guess what we started doing? We started practicing. And because the game was so fun, practicing was fun. I wish I could practice right now. And this place is 35 minutes away from me. About 30 minutes of those are on the highway. But I loved going so much that it didn't even bother me. And we was the only team practicing. Everybody else who plays, they're just good. Like you can tell by watching them play that they've been playing for years. And the more we practiced, the better we got. And literally almost every Monday, at least one person will walk up to us and tell us how much better we were getting. And the first season, like I said, we was garbage. Then the second season, we won more games, but still had more losses than wins. And by that third season, we finished in second place. Made it all the way to the championship game. And that was only in 3 seasons against folks who've been playing for years. And when I say season, it's only like 2 months, if that. But we fell in love with the process. We had fun practicing. We couldn't get enough of it, especially me, because I'm a competitor in a good way. But us falling in love with the process and practicing made us get exponentially better. Now, of course, this example ain't really applicable to your life because I'm playing a game that's fun, and we're talking about a process of all the hard work you have to do. But the facts are still the facts. We fell in love with it. We enjoyed the process of getting better until we eventually got better, and now we're about to enter our 4th season coming off a second place finish, playing against teams that have been playing for years and years and years. One team even goes to nationals every year. Yeah, they got nationals. Teams around the country fly to Florida, I think. But anyway, we had that dopamine reward system. The practice did it for us, and we loved it. Another quick example. During the pandemic, when all the gyms were closed, I got to a point, believe it or not, when I really wasn't working out. I worked out like 3 times one of those months. And I saw it in my body, even in my face. It was just hard to work out at home. especially since it was at a time when they raised the prices on all the equipment, so I couldn't afford it, or I was just too stubborn to pay for something that was damn near double the price than what it normally was. But one thing I would reward myself with after a workout was a smoothie. I learned how to make some good ass smoothies with protein. It was a strawberry and banana smoothie, and it was good. And what started to happen was I started to look forward to that smoothie during my workout. And I would tell myself, okay, Dotch, finish these last few sets and you can get to that smoothie. Finish these reps and you can make that smoothie. Let's get it in so you can earn that smoothie. Can you tell I enjoyed that damn smoothie? Yes, I did. And that literally helped me get through my workout. And it's funny that this is how I was, because there were studies done that showed that people who would have a piece of chocolate after a workout were more likely to show up again for another workout. Why? Because there is a little bit of a reward. And when your brain has some of that dopamine, it wants more. So the question is, how do we find ways to fall in love with the process, even become addicted to the process, so our brain releases that dopamine that's going to feel good, it's going to keep us coming back? Instead of only celebrating when you achieve your goal, how can you celebrate yourself for showing up and taking action, for putting in the work and getting those tasks done? And I talk about goals a lot on this podcast. And of course, you want to have those big goals, those long-term goals, the things you want to achieve in 5 years. But you also need to have goals for each day. Your daily goals, the things you need to check off every day that are part of your process, the process. What's up, what's up, what's up? I want to take a quick moment to say thank you so much for listening to this episode, and to also let you know that this podcast is 100% donation driven, which means it's completely funded by you, the listener. So if you like the content I have to offer, I would love it if you can make a donation and you get to pick the amount. I left links in the description of the video as well as my homepage. You can choose which way benefits you the best to donate. And if you need more options, please feel free to email me at dariusdotch@gmail.com. That's dariusdotch@gmail.com. Again, thank you so much for being here, and let's get back to it. And one of the mistakes a lot of folks make, talking about the gym again, is they don't want to, or they don't feel like they should celebrate themselves until they lose the weight, until they see a change. And until then, they look in the mirror and only see how fat they look, how far away they are from where they want to be. Instead of doing that, because this way, you will be waiting a long time to release that dopamine, a long time before you enjoy the process. Instead, how can you celebrate, even if it's just in your mind, every set you do? Every time you complete a workout, every time you show up for yourself, when you decided to make that right choice to eat something healthy when you could have easily ate the unhealthy stuff, and you celebrate yourself. You say, good job, good choice. There you go. You did that. And it can be for anything. Literally, it can be for whatever the thing you do, that choice you make, that action you take, that's part of the process, that's taking steps in the right direction, no matter how small. Have a small celebration. You check something off on your daily plan, on your to-do list, celebrate that. Hell yeah, you getting shit done. Build yourself up to be your biggest fan and release that dopamine. That's going to make you more likely to show up for yourself the next day. And again, this is a big mistake that most people make, including myself. They don't think they should celebrate until they complete the goal. Like for me, and I have been working on this lately, but I have a habit of when folks tell me good things about my career, I immediately mention how far I got to go to get to where I want to be. Like somebody would say, hey man, I see you out here doing big things. And my response would be, not yet. Or somebody would say, you a star out here. And I say, nah, not really a star yet. Instead of just taking the compliment, because that's what they meant by it. And instead of waiting until I feel like I quote unquote made it, or I'm a quote unquote star, I need to just enjoy the fact that I'm doing better than what I did last year. I'm making progress. I'm getting the recognition. I need to enjoy that instead of waiting to feel joy when I get what I think success is going to eventually look like. And I really been working on that. And I'm starting to just enjoy this journey I'm on. And we can't feel like we don't deserve to celebrate. We don't deserve to pat ourselves on the back until we become a millionaire or whatever your goal is, because that's going to make it that much harder to achieve it because you're going to be so hard on yourself the whole way. And the beautiful part about it is when you celebrate the things you choose to celebrate, they are subjective. You get to choose. It can be as little as waking up and not hitting snooze, because it's easy as hell to hit that snooze button. And that's one step closer to you having the discipline you need to really go after your goals. Or if you go 2 days in a row without eating bad food, celebrate that. That's more than you did 3 days ago. That's a win. And the point of it all is all these things are attached to the process, not the end result. So when you hear about people like Jordan or LeBron James and they win a championship, or when their season ends and next week they right back in the gym, you might look at them like they're insane, but for them, it's the process and who they're becoming in that process. The end result just happened to be a championship. And while that is amazing, it's not just about that. Look at Elon Musk. That dude built this car brand and is highly successful. And if you listen to him talk, he works his ass off all day, every day. And it ain't like he don't have enough money to pay somebody to work for him and to do what he does. It's who he is. The process of it all, of making it happen, not just it happening. The fun of building that brand, that business, is about who you're becoming in that process and falling in love with that person. It's about being challenged over and over and overcoming those challenges, which gives you dopamine. And what does that do? It makes you want to get more of it. So ask yourself, is your dopamine reward system attached to the achievement of something? Okay, if it is, so what if you don't achieve it in 6 weeks, 6 months, 5 years? Then what? Do you really want to be holding off that dopamine for that long? That pleasure of going after something, when you can use this thing to drive you right now to actually want to keep going. You can attach it to making the phone calls, not just making the sales. Attach it to finishing a workout and being healthy, not what the scale looks like. Attach it to reading 5 pages, not just finishing the book. You can attach it to taking action in your business, not just making a lot of money from it. Celebrate yourself for doing what you need to do to get things done, for doing those things that are on the path to accomplishing what you want to accomplish. So that's what I got for you today. If you like this episode, please share it with somebody that can benefit from this, somebody who is a friend or a family member, somebody who has goals and is trying to improve their lives. So thank you again, and let's get it in.